right, I'll call this meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item of business tonight is the election of a chairperson.
I move that Greg Frenchie serve as the chairperson.
Second.
We're properly moved and seconded to elect me as the chairperson. I will. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, I'll be the chairperson. Next item of business then will be our budget hearing and approval of proposed preliminary tax levy for 2026.
Okay, and all I'll say is we know every year this will change between now and the end of October when we do our final budget. We have variables like enrollment, which we'll find out in September what our official third Friday enrollment is. Open enrollment, in and out, who actually shows up for open enrollment in and out in the district. The state equalization aids won't have their final calculation until mid-October, October 15th. Municipal property equalization values come in late September. That affects the mill rate. And then we also have other factors like transfer of service dollars and private voucher students, monies that we don't find out till mid to late October as well. So between now and then things will change, but this is our best guess estimate based on information and projections that we have. We try to make conservative estimates, meaning, you know, when we estimate revenue, we try to go on the lower end, and when we estimate expenses, we try to go on the higher end. We have a balanced budget forecasted. The budget can be reviewed inside of the packet on pages 7 through, I believe, 13. Page 7 shows the local property tax levy that's proposed, which is $3,147,617. You can see that the majority of that is our Fund 10 General Fund, Fund 38 and 39, which is our debt service funds. Those are all just based on the debt schedule. And Fund 80 is community education. And you can see the mill rate projecting at 7.75. Again, that's a projection. But it's a very, very small increase from last year's 7.65. That is, I would predict that will probably be less than that because we projected $0 increase in property value, and it probably is going to go up somewhat. So you can see there in the bottom of the page, we get most of our money from the state, although it's down a little bit, right? From a few years ago, we had over 75% of our equalization aid revenue came from the state. Now we're down to 67%. That's as a function of our local property values going up a little bit, more so than the state, and also a function of our enrollment going down a little bit too. You can see federal funding gets a lot of attention, but it's 2% of our budget. So projecting a $3.147 million tax levy with a 7.75 mill rate. Flip through the next several pages, that just shows the different funds. Fund 10 is our general fund, and that is balanced. And then Fund 21 is our activity accounts, so that's not really funded by the district. That's the money that's raised through the different activity accounts, the different activities that we have in school, student organizations, and so on. That's money that they raise and spend on their own programs. So that's money in and money out. Special education is Fund 27. Every year we make a large transfer of money from Fund 10 into Fund 27 because the costs for special education are not fully reimbursed, not even close to it, by the state or by the federal government. So this year we have $719,000 that we will be transferring from Fund 10 into Fund 20, or General Fund into Special Education Fund this year. That's our budget for that. Fund 38 and 39. Fund 38 is non-referendum debt service. That's the energy efficiency project at the elementary from 2013-14. Fund 39 is the referendum to update the elementary and the high school in 2014, 13-14 that was passed. the amount of revenue and expenditure there simply follows the debt schedule that was passed back then. Fund 46 is our capital projects fund, where we can take excess funds, unspent funds at the end of the fiscal year and put them in there, count them as spent dollars, and then save them to use solely for capital and maintenance projects. We have a healthy balance in there. And then Fund 50 is food service. Again, this year we have scheduled a transfer of money from our general fund into food service as well. In talking to many other districts are in the same situation. Revenues are down in food service from the federal reimbursement rates went down after COVID, and food costs have gone up quite a bit in the last few years, as we've all experienced at the grocery store. So that is an area we're continually tweaking and working on. And then the Community Service Fund, Fund 80, that is a fund that we can fund outside of the Revenue Limit Authority. And we had the last 2 years a strategy to gradually bump up our local levy on community ed to offset the cost of free 4K wraparound care. That is an area that if we get to October and we feel like our levy is a little higher than we want, we could tamp that down a little bit and maybe levy only, 60,000 instead of 70 if we wanted to do that. So not increase it so much. So the bottom of page 13 is where it shows again the historical mill rate, and it also shows the historical levy. And the levy increase this year is only 1.34% after a rather large increase last year. That was some of that was expected, but some of it was unexpected. How large it ended up being, we talked about that at meetings quite a bit last year. But it's a small increase this year, relatively. The next several pages, 14, 15, 16 through 18, just show some historical information that I think is interesting for people to kind of get a perspective. Bottom of page 15 shows the historical levy, and you can see how we had that rather large increase last year. However, if you look at it over time, how it averages out over the last 4 years, it smooths it out quite a bit. So, shows our decrease in student membership. Page 16 shows how we get most of our money from the state, again, every year. Our state equalization aid is going down a bit because, again, property values increasing here relative to the state average, as well as reduction in our enrollment. And then on page 17 is fund balance. So that's something that's important for all districts to look at, maintaining a certain percentage of fund balance so that we can, pay for unexpected costs and make sure that we don't have to borrow money to make payroll and things like that, which we have not had to do in well over 10 years. But this year, at the end of the year, we were able to make a pretty sizable allowance to flow into our fund balance last year. So we're up to 18% again for the first time in a while. And if we don't add any more money to it this year, because we're projecting less expenses, our fund balance could grow up to 18.45 simply by spending less expenses this year. Page 18 just explains how the mill rate gets calculated, and again shows we're proposing a 7.75 mill rate. Page 19 shows the estimated property values that the Department of Revenue put out in August that they are estimating will be. These are not true or actual yet, but you can see it's been kind of volatile the last couple of years. Really big growth in property value increase, and then last year unexpectedly smaller, and then this year, projected about 10% increase. But we'll see. But that's just interesting information to see the different municipalities and how they all compare in their growth rates. Any questions from the audience about budget stuff or anything that? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. The next item of business then would be us approving the 25-26 proposed preliminary tax levy for 2025-2026.
I move that we approve the proposed preliminary tax levy for 25-26.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the preliminary tax levy for 25-26. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, the next item of business is the approval of the 25-26 school board salaries.
How much, I don't look at my wife's big earnings. How much is it currently?
Currently, the salary is $2,600 per year paid to members of the Board of Education, with the provision that each board member participates in at least 2 Wisconsin Association School Board workshops or virtual learning seminars every year for the 3-year term.
Is that, we're good, okay, I move to approve the same as last year.
I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to keep our salaries the same with the same provisions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. The next item of business is the consent agenda, where we're going to authorize, where the public is going to authorize the operation of a school lunch program, authorize the provision for student insurance, authorize reimbursement to school board members for expenses incurred, authorize the board to transport students, authorize the prosecution of defense of any school litigation. So I will entertain a consent agenda motion.
I move that we adopt the consent agenda, A through E, or F, whichever is appropriate.
And I second that.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the next item of business is the state of the district. We've got a number of reports to hear from. First would be our superintendent's report.
Okay, try to keep this pretty brief and high level too. So, but it is nice to share information about our district. So I just want to start out by thanking our leadership team and also the team in the district office, particularly Eve, who's here tonight, and also Joy Nordby. Tara Petter, our food service director, Tom Osmondrud, who's our maintenance director and transportation director, Bo Osmondrud, our IT director, our administrative team, principals Melberg, Principal Anderson, assistant principal and AD, Mr. Rosine, and our special ed director, Mrs. Powers. Our entire summer crew, the secretaries and the custodians and transportation employees who are here over the summer, getting things ready for the school year, and into our entire staff that'll be coming back tomorrow. Just a big thank you for the efforts throughout the year, and it's a group I'm proud to work with. So, as far as the state of our district, a big thing that we want to try to emphasize each year to drive what we do is our strategic plan. We put a lot of effort in community investment in developing what we're here to serve our community, and our community spoke to us and told us what we are here to do and what's our directive. And we use our balanced scorecards as a way to set goals and measure progress and hold ourselves accountable to making progress on those goals and expectations. And so 2024-25 was the first year of full implementation of those scorecards, and really drove a lot of staff involvement and staff understanding of those goals, and the principals did a great job of forging that connection between the plan and the actions carried out by the staff. And so under the leadership, academic and social development, we're a professional learning community, and we use that model as our way of doing business, and we're seeing some of the fruits of those labors with our improving test scores and the success of our students. Another priority coming out of our strategic plan is communication, and we're going to be developing communication plans by building and across the district this year. And we also are happy to share that we're rolling out a new website, a redesigned website, an app for people's phones, whether you're a Android user or a Apple user, There's an app, if you look up Clear Lake School District, and you can download the app, and that will connect to our website, and you'll be able to find useful information for parents and families there. A new messaging system that will be connected to this for emergency alerts, but also for teachers and coaches to connect with parents and kids. We're also trying to then enhance our social media game with those tools, and also plan to add soon an Instagram page for our school district that will be connected with our Facebook page. So those are the tools, but then we also, we'll work with our strategies as a team for how to implement those tools in a better way. So enhanced communication is a goal, staff engagement is a goal in a number of different ways, and then also fiscal and facility responsibility. It's like, how are we taking care of our budget and our tax dollars? Are we taking care of our facilities that are entrusted to us to carry on for future generations? So from a personnel perspective, we've got 14 new hires this year, so that's almost 15% of our positions in our district. So high turnover is just the norm nowadays. Last year we had 9, the year before we had 11, year before that we had over 20. It's a different labor market. There's somewhat of a shortage of labor, somewhat of a shortage of teachers, but we have been very fortunate to hire high quality staff. A big part of that is our referendum dollars from 2022 allowed us to increase our compensation to be at a competitive level, to allow what we believe to allow our culture and our relationships to win over and hopefully make a difference in people saying, I want to come and work in Clear Lake and be part of that team. So we know we need to continue to support and mentor and invest in our staff. Last year, the board made a bold decision to make a full-time position of assistant principal / athletic director. And Mr. Rosine has been doing that, and that there was a real increase in staff response to feeling supported on our school perception survey this year. And we believe that there's a correlation there. So that investment does help. Facilities and technology, we had a comprehensive study done by Carl Sanderson in 23-24, and we continue to pick away at the different items there. Last year we updated our fire system at the high school here. Big investment to completely redo the entire fire alarm system. Smaller investments, you'll notice the spring and summer, the signage in the front of the school, the back of the school, the new road sign, railings in our bleachers for safety, some gym signage and paint at the high school, some IT infrastructure, some of the stuff you can see, like Chromebooks, some of it's up in the ceiling that you can't see. We know that we've always got bigger upcoming needs, bus garage improvements, high school parking lot replacement in the future, heating, ventilation, AC. There's lots of things that are maintenance needs that are coming up that we know about. So custodial staff worked really hard all summer to get the place shined up like they always do. So academically, I know the principals are going to talk about that, but I just want to mention that, we were one of 14 districts in CISA 11 out of 39 districts in CISA 11. One of 14 who exceeded expectations on our state report card. And it's been a few years since we've been in that category. So I think I think we're in good company when we look at that those 14 schools that we're with. And we know that that's just one variable that we look at. That's something that I think, shows a little bit of the fruits of our labor in that regard. So fiscally, just a few notes. I think we're very fortunate we had no increase in our health insurance premium again this year, which is just astounding. We're just going to keep riding that wave as long as we can. We know that the state budget for 25 to 27 was a little bit disappointing overall, and also for Clear Lake. But we will be keeping a close eye on our finances and budgeting realistic and close budgets to deal with that. So that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Peterson, thank you. Our next State of the District report will be coming from our junior senior high principals report, Mr. Melberg.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking our custodial staff. One of my favorite things is I want to give a tour of this building to a new family that's just moved in or an interview. People have a hard time believing that this building is now 28 years old, because it always seems fresh when you walk through here. So that's a testament to what that crew does all the time, and it's set and ready to go again this year. We've got 2 new staff members in this building, welcoming back Nate Cunningham into a math position. Nate was with us for a number of years, left for a couple of years, will be rejoining us, and then Kim Elwood will be joining us as our guidance counselor. Many people in the community are familiar with Kim. Kim was born and raised here, and her husband works right here in town, so a lot of great connections, and Kim's going to do great things for us. We're looking forward to that. A couple highlights for our kids that have already started. Our sports teams for the fall are off and running. Football's been going. They're already through week 1. Volleyball is playing tonight, and cross country is on their way as well. And the cheer team is up and going in full swing already too. Shout out to Mr. Vitalis. He's got the marching band. They got after it for all of the earlier in the summer, and now they're back at it with the different events that are coming up for marching this fall. And another highlight today is we had our 7th graders in the building for Camp Junior High. This is our efforts of making that transition from the elementary to this building as smooth as possible for our 7th graders. Big thank you to Mrs. Rubel, who continues to do a really nice job with that. Scoreboards, we've got new scoreboards that came in. They're in the maintenance area in the back. They look really nice. We're looking to get the installation done here soon. Huge thank you to our anchor sponsors who made that possible, so thank you. Chris talked about the strategic plan, so I won't do much there, but I do want to say that it continues to drive everything that we do in this building, and we're at a point where we spent a lot of time putting processes in place, whether that's to measure goals, to figure out ways to collect the information that we need. We've spent a couple of years putting those things in place, and now we're kind of at that turning point where now those things are in place and we're fine-tuning those things. And I really feel like that strategic plan has us moving in a really good direction, and there's a lot of things that we've implemented in the last 2 years that are helping our kids every day in this building. So I appreciate that. We'll go over those scorecards with the board in the coming months to close out last year's. We didn't achieve all of our academic goals that we set last year, but I would also say if we achieved all of them, that we didn't set them high enough. But we achieved a great deal of them, and I'm really proud of the work that the teachers and the kids did last year, and we're looking forward to setting those goals again, starting tomorrow and this week, and doing everything we can with our students to meet as many of those goals as we can academically. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Milberg. Now we'll get to hear the state of the district from our elementary principal's desk.
Thank you. We are fully staffed in the elementary. It was kind of a complicated spring and summer, but I'm really excited for the people that we have in place. Too numerous to name at this point, but they're all great. I hope you can get a chance to meet them. One thing as we went through all of these different interview processes is we can honestly claim the great culture that we have in our district. And even the interview committee, I mean, many times, that was the most fun interview I've ever had, were the comments I was receiving from our applicants. And I said, it starts with our school board and it trickles all the way down. So just the positivity that we have in our district really is felt all the way through, right down to the kids walking in the hall. So we're very thankful, and we could be very honest in really trumpeting what we have here. The number of substitutes, we had our substitute appreciation last Friday. Got a new person just show up because of the ad that we had put out. And again, just talk of it's one of the best places I like to sub. If it's Clear Lake over something else, I'll do Clear Lake. So there's just something about what we have here that people are really excited to be a part of. So I'm very fortunate to be among these teachers, staff, even Mr. Melberg, and is this on record? Okay. Because we're here for the right reasons. We're here for success for kids, and it's felt. And I hope that you see we're not just working hard to work hard, we're working hard for a purpose. CISA 11 actually reached out and wanted to highlight some of the work that our elementary had done this year for their Wisconsin multi-level system of support project. We wholeheartedly said, yes, please. So there's a flyer somewhere that's all about the great things that are going on in our district. So that was out of the 39 CISA schools, we were asked to be a part of that. So that was exciting. And it's the teachers and it's the staff that's putting it in. They're all in, and even on those tough days, they are in. They're all in. So it's exciting to work with such committed people. Again, we could thank, and I can't list everybody, but we've got shiny floors that'll last for about 3 days. And then the pitter patter of the feet will come in on Tuesday and Wednesday, then won't be shiny anymore. But boy, oh boy, does the building look awesome. If you want to see what it looks like, clean, come on in. But it's the dirty floors and the kids walking through that really is the essence of what we do. So, but the custodians have been working just amazingly. Our office, all the behind the scenes things that you don't see that make today, first day with staff and building, and Tuesday, first day with kids and building possible, is immense. It's absolutely crazy how much goes into getting things ready. Whether it be tech, buildings, teachers in, trainings, support staff up at CISA doing trainings. It's been a lot. So each year I kind of choose a quote to kind of ground our year. And this is the one for this year, so we'll kind of come back to this over and over. And you may have heard it, but it's called 100 years from now. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drove. But the world may be different because I was important in the life of a child. So that's our elementary essence this year. We're not here and we're not going to be remembered per se with the money we have, the car we have, the house we have. It's that connection we've made with kids that will think back, I had that teacher that was that person for me. So that's what we are about, and I thank you for letting me have this privilege of being in the seat I'm in.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. All right, our next agenda item is to authorize the board to set future annual meeting date.
I move to authorize the board to set the future annual meeting date.
I second that.
It's been properly seconded to authorize the board to set the future annual meeting date. Is that going to set it tonight?
Don't have to.
Okay. So then the next item is adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before I move that, I would like to just make a brief comment, and that is that I am very proud of the Clear Lake School District. I am very, very proud and very impressed by all of you. I appreciate all your work. I'm fortunate to have married a Clear Lake grad, and I'm very blessed to have 2 daughters that have graduated from here, and I thank you for your investment in that. And with that said, I move to adjourn the meeting.
And I will second that.
It's been properly moved to adjourn. Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Todd.
Way to go.
Did we break a record?
7:29.